Bhaktya sakya aham evam vidorjuna Antum darashtum cha tatmena praveshtum cha parantapa. Bhaktya, by devotional service. Two, but ananya, without being mixed with fruitive activities or speculative knowledge. Sakya, possible. Aham, I, evam vidaha. Like this, Arjuna, O Arjuna, Nyantum, to know, Drashtum, to see, Cha, and Tatvena, in fact, Praveshtum, to enter into, Cha, also, Param Tapa, O subduer of the enemy. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Please repeat, my dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Purport. Kṛṣṇa can be understood only by the process of undivided devotional service. He explicitly explained this in this verse so that unauthorized commentators who try to understand Bhagavad Gita by the speculative process will know that they are simply wasting their time. No one can understand Kṛṣṇa or how he came from parents in a four-handed form and at once change himself into a two-handed form. These things are very difficult to understand by the study of Vedas or by philosophical speculation. Therefore, it is clearly stated here that no one can see him or enter into understanding of these matters. Those who, however, are very experienced students of Vedic literature can learn about him from Vedic literature in so many ways. There are so many rules and regulations, and if one at all wants to understand Kṛṣṇa, he must follow the regulative principles described in authoritative literature. One can perform penance in accordance with those principles. For example, to undergo serious penance, one may be observe fasting on Janmashtami, the day of Kṛṣṇa, the day on which Kṛṣṇa appeared, on the 2 days of Ekadasi, 11th day after the new moon, and 11th day after the full moon. As far as charity is concerned, it is plain that charity should be given to the devotees of Kṛṣṇa who engage in his devotional service to spread Kṛṣṇa conscious philosophy or Kṛṣṇa conscious throughout the world. Kṛṣṇa consciousness is the benediction to humanity. Lord Chaitanya was appreciated by Rupa Goswami as the most munificent man of charity because love of Kṛṣṇa, which is very difficult to achieve, was distributed freely by him. So if one gives some amount of his money to persons involved in distributing Kṛṣṇa consciousness, that charity given to spread Kṛṣṇa consciousness is the greatest charity in the world. And if one worships as prescribed in a temple, in the temples in India, there is always some statue, usually Vishnu or Kṛṣṇa, that is a chance to progress by offering worship and respect to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For the beginners of devotional service to the Lord, temple worship is essential, and this is confirmed in Vedic literatures. Svetasvatara Upanishad 6.23 Yashadeva para bhakti vitadhe vitata guru tasyete katita hiyarta prakashanti mahatmanaha. One who has unflinching devotion for the Supreme Lord and is directed by the Supreme Spiritual Master, in whom he has similar unflinching faith, can see the Supreme Personality Godhead by revelation. One cannot understand Kṛṣṇa by mental speculation. For one who does not take personal training under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, it is impossible to even begin to understand Kṛṣṇa. The word tu is specifically used to indicate that no other process can be used, can be recommended, or can be successful in understanding Kṛṣṇa. The personal form of Krishna, the two-handed form, and the four-handed are described as Sudurdarsham, very difficult to see. They are completely different from the temporary universal form shown to Arjuna. The four-handed form of Narayana and the two-handed form of Krishna are eternal and transcendental, whereas this universal form exhibited by to Arjuna is temporary. And the word Svat Anyena Nadrishta Purvam, text 47, state that before Arjuna, no one had seen that universal form. Also, they suggest that among the devotees, there was no necessity of showing it. That form was exhibited by Krishna at the request of Arjuna, so that in the future, when one represents himself as an incarnation of God, people can ask to see his universal form. The word na, used repeatedly in the previous verse, indicates that one should not be very much proud of such credentials as an academic education in Vedic literature. One must stick to the devotional service of Krishna. Only then one can one attempt to write commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Krishna changes from universal form to four-handed form of Narayana, and then to his own natural form of two hands. This indicates that the four-handed forms and the other forms mentioned in Vedic literature are all emanations of the original two-handed Krishna. He is the origin of all emanations. Krishna is distinct even from these forms. What to speak of impersonal conception? As far as four-handed form of Krishna are concerned, it is stated clearly that even the most identical four-handed form of Krishna, which is known as Mahavishnu, who is lying on the cosmic ocean, from whose breathing so many innumerable universes are passing out and entering, is also expansion of the Supreme Lord as stated in Brahma Samhita, Yashaiva Nishvashita Kalamata Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagarandanata Vishnu Mahan Sahayasya Kala Visesha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Mahavishnu, into which whom all the innumerable universes enter, and from whom come forth again simply by his breathing process, is a plenary expansion of Krishna. Therefore, I worship Govinda, Krishna, the cause of all causes. Therefore, one should conclusively worship the personal form of Krishna as the Supreme Personality Godhead who has eternal bliss and knowledge. He is the source of all forms of Vishnu. He is the source of all form of incarnation, and he is the original Supreme Personality Godhead as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. In the Vedic literature, Gopal Tapani Upanishad 1.1, following statement appeared Sachidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klilasta Karine Namo Vedanta Vedhaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshine. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Krishna, who has a transcendental form of bliss, eternity, and knowledge. I offer my respects to him because understanding him means understanding the Vedas, and he is therefore the supreme spiritual master. Then it is said, Krishna vai parama daivatam. Krishna is the supreme personality Godhead, Gopal Tapani Upanishad. Eko vasi sarvagha Krishna idhya, eko pi san bahudha vabhati. That one Krishna is the supreme personality Godhead, and he is worshipable. Although he is one, he is manifested in unlimited forms and expanded incarnations. Gopal Tapani Upanishad 1.2. Brahma Samhita says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. Anadhiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Supreme Personality Godhead is Krishna, who is the body of eternity and knowledge and bliss. He has no beginning, for he is the beginning of everything. He is the cause of all causes. In the Vishnu Puran 4.11.4, it is said that Yatra Vatrinam Krishnakyam Brahma Narakriti. The Supreme Absolute Truth is a person. His name is Krishna, and he sometimes descends on this earth. Similarly, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find description of all kinds of incarnation of the Supreme Personality Godhead. And in this list of names, Krishna also appears. But then it is said that Krishna, it is not an incarnation of God, but the original Supreme Personality Godhead himself. Eta chamsa kalapam sa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Matat parataram nanyat. There is nothing superior to my form as the personality Godhead Krishna. He also says elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Adiri Devanam, I am the origin of all demigods. And after understanding Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, Arjuna confirms in the following, Param Brahma Param Dhamma, Pavitram Paramam Bhavam. I am now fully understand you are the Supreme Personality Godhead in absolute truth, and that you are the refuge of everything. Therefore, the universal form which Krishna showed to Arjuna is not the original form of God. The original is Krishna form, the universal form, with its thousands and thousands of heads and hands, is manifest just to draw the attention of those who have no love for God. It is not God's original form. The universal form is not attractive for the pure devotees who are in love with the Lord in his different transcendental relationships. The Supreme Godhead exchanges transcendental love in his original form of Krishna. Therefore, to Arjuna, who was so intimately related with Krishna in friendship, this form of universal manifestation is not pleasing, rather it was fearful. Krishna, who was a constant companion of Arjuna, who was a constant companion of Krishna, must have had transcendental eyes. He was not an ordinary man, therefore he was not captivated by the universal form. This form may seem wonderful to persons who are involved in elevating themselves by fruitive activities, but to persons who are engaged in devotional service, the two-handed form of Krishna is the most dear. So it's a very long purport. You all can go to this verse and read the purport again, because it's very easy to miss out so many points that are covered by Prabhupada. So we see the translation again. So Krishna is speaking to Arjuna in the 11th chapter. In this chapter, he had showed his universal form, and Arjuna got bewildered seeing the form. So the universal form, not only he showed the universal form, there is two different. He also saw the Kala Rupa, Virat Rupa. The Virat Rupa shows all the universes within himself, and also the Kala Rupa. Kala Rupa is the form of time, because he could see all the soldiers, the Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya, everyone, Kauravas were all going inside his mouth and being crushed, destroyed completely. So Krishna is showing that I am time, Mrityu Sarva Haraschaham. In time, everything is destroyed, right? Everybody is actually afraid of time. But the most unique thing is that everyone is afraid of time, and time is actually a feature of Krishna. But that same Krishna is afraid of his mother Yashoda. You can see, right, today we are offering lamb. It's a very auspicious Kartik month. On the day of Diwali, that is the day where the Lord got tied by Yashoda. So that Lord who showed the entire universe to Arjuna, and also actually in the previous chapter, before he got tied by his mother, before he got punished by his mother, he was showing the universal in the mouth. Mother Yashoda was actually a little bit bewildered. But again, she was not interested. This is the verse, you can see. So this is called the Paribhasha Sutra of the 10th canto. So anything you analyze in the Leela of this Damodar Leela, you have to analyze from this sloka. Traya Shopanish Shadipsya Shankya Yogasya Tadvatai Upagiyamana Mahatmyam Harim Samman Yatadmajam. It says here, the glories of the Supreme Personality Godhead are studied through the three Vedas, the Upanishads, the literature of Sankhya Yoga, and other Vaishnava literature. Yet, Mother Yashoda considered that Supreme Person her ordinary child. So all the Vedas, Upanishads, everything, the Vedic scriptures, it's all Vedesha Sharver Aham Eva Vedyam. The goal of Vedas is to understand Krishna. That is the ultimate goal of Vedas. So when we study Vedas, we should study it with the aim of understanding Krishna. Everything else that you use the Vedas for, to do your rituals and everything, it's not the main thing. The main aim of the Vedas is to understand Krishna. And we said here that Vedas which describes the Supreme Lord, Mother Yashoda considered him as the ordinary child. So this is the, how to say, the highest form of God that you can see. We all approach God with a mood of worship. Actually, sometimes you may ask this question: why is it that when I have trouble, when I have a problem, I can remember God? Right? But when I am not in trouble, I'm happy, I forget God very easily. You realize that? Whenever we are in trouble, we will come to temple. We'll be more interested to chant. But when the trouble is finished, we forget Him. You know why? Because if you see in Srimad Bhagavatam, again the prayers of Gajendra, Madrik Prapanna Pasupasa Vimokshanaya Muktaya Bhuri Karunaya Namolayaya Samsena Sarvatanu Brin Manasi Pratita Pratyak Drishe Bhagavate Brihate Namaste. So Gajendra is saying, Madrik Prapanna Pasupasa Vimokshanaya. All of us are being tied by the ropes of the three modes of nature. The three modes of nature, Sattva, Rajas, Tama. We are all bounded. Because we are associating with the various modes, we are performing various activities. If I'm associating with the modes of ignorance, I'll be just taking drugs, sleeping, very lazy. If I'm associating mode of passion, then I'll be very active, trying to pursue, trying to be successful, trying to be an entrepreneur, trying to be the best football player in the world, best musician. That is Rajagun. In the mode of goodness, Sattvagun, I will try to understand the Vedas, the scriptures. So all of us are controlled. Sometimes you may feel also, today I feel motivated to read the Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes you will feel like, no, I just want to scroll on Instagram. So the modes are just controlling us. We are all bounded by the modes. So Gajendra is saying that now because I'm bounded by this mode, he says, I am a Pashu, Pasa Vimokshanaya. Pasu means animal. I'm an animal who's bounded by these modes. Actually, he is also saying that not only he is an animal, we are also animals. Because we are also bounded, right? Is anyone free? Nobody is free. Our hands are all tight. We think that we are very independent, but everything is conditioned. Like now you see we have an air condition here. Why? Because it's hot. So we are trying to adjust to the heat. The heat is there, so to adjust it, we put aircon. But if today, of course, Singapore, we're not going to see winter, but if it's winter, we will off the aircon. So we are all conditioned by the various nature. We are trying to survive here. Right? So he says, I am that animal. Actually, we are that animal also. So then he says, Muktaya Bhuri Karunaya Namo Layaya. So what does this mean? He says that, but you can release me, my Lord. Why? Because you are Mukta. Mukta means you are liberated. You are never bound by material nature. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Kṛṣṇa is the controller of nature. Just like the government controls the police department who controls us. Right? If we commit a crime, the police will arrest us. So the material nature is like the police department. But that material nature is controlled by the police department, controlled by the government. So similarly, he is liberated. He is not under the police. We are. So he says, Gajendra says, because you are having all power, you are all powerful. That's why you can unbind us. Now my hand is tight. Only someone whose hand is untied can release me, right? So we are all conditioned. And if you want to come out of this material condition, we have to surrender to Kṛṣṇa. And that's why Kṛṣṇa is called Muktaya, because he liberates us. So that means he is all powerful. So remember this word, all powerful. Bhuri Karunaya, he is all compassionate. Not only he is all powerful, he is compassionate enough to liberate us. Sometimes you may have somebody who is a very rich person. He has all the money to help you, but he doesn't have the compassion to help you. Understand? When you worship the devatas, they also not, unless you satisfy them, they're not going to help you. And little bit you dissatisfy them, they will come and curse you. Like you see when the Govardhan, yesterday we had Govardhan Puja. The cowherd community did not worship Indra. Indra's job was to give rain. And they did not worship him. Kṛṣṇa says no need, because his job is to give rain. If the police job is to protect you, do you have to pay money to the police? If you pay money to the police, what is that called? Bribery, right? So we don't need to actually worship the devatas because they are working under the order of the Lord. We only pay tax to the government. We don't need to go every department and pay tax to the water department, to the electric department. You just give one place. Similarly, Kṛṣṇa says, if you worship me, I will distribute to all the devatas. So in Govardhan Leela, we saw how Indra was very unhappy that Kṛṣṇa was saying to worship Govardhan. And immediately he started to pour so much of rain on Vrindavan to destroy the Vrajavasis. Even the demons did not come to destroy the friends of Kṛṣṇa. So actually what you can understand is problems start from the internal. No need enemies from outside. So Indra himself is a devotee, but he's attacking the pure devotees of Krishna. So this is the so this is the thing. Muktaya, he's all powerful. He's all compassionate to help you. Only he has that compassion to help you. You know, nobody has that kind of compassion. He's so compassionate that he was even helping Putana, who came to kill him. Putana came to give him milk and poison him, but he says, okay, she came as a mother, I will accept the mood. Bhavagrahi Janardana. Krishna accepts the mood of the mother and he said, okay, I will take your milk, I'll make you my mother. That is Krishna. So number one, he's all powerful, he's all compassionate, and Namo Alayaya means he's all awareness. He's aware of all of our problems. Whatever problem we have in our life, he knows. Right? So when even if you don't listen, call him and ask him for help, he knows. But if you develop love and devotion from him, Bhaktiya, today we sing, Krishna says, by Bhakti alone you can understand me. If you approach him with Bhakti, then he will very easily dispense his compassion. So now the point is, what I'm trying to make here is, why we think that God, why we forget God, right? We remember him when we're in trouble, but we forget him when we are not in trouble. Because we are aware of his power, number one. I mean, many people are not aware, but at least people here, I think devotees, you're aware. You're aware that he has all power. You are also understanding that he is all aware of your problem. Because of that respect, you have that formal relationship with him. You come to him, my dear sir, please help me. I have the problem. Please help me solve this. After the problem is solved, you will forget. You know why? Because you do not have awareness of his Bhuri Karunaya, of his compassion. If you love Krishna, then you will know how compassionate he is. And if you love someone, whether they help you or they don't help you, you will always remember them, right? You understand what I'm trying to say? We are connecting to God in a very formal aspect. We have to learn how to connect with God through bhakti, through love. And if you can connect with him through love, as Krishna is saying today, only by devotion, bhakti, you can understand me. If the love is there, there is no breakage in your remembrance of him. There is no time you will forget him. Like Kunti Devi is saying, right? Twai me ananya vishaya matir madhupate sakrit. Ananya means without any fail. So she says that her love for Krishna is always flowing without any stopping. Just like, the river is flowing. Twai me ananya vishaya matir madhupate sakrit. What is that? Asakrit udvadam adaha gange vogam udanvate. Just like Ganga is flowing to the ocean, right? You see the Ganga, anything tries to stop the Ganga, it will break through the obstacle and go. Right? When Krishna was going to do the, Rasa Leela. So these devotees, when he started playing his flute, there were so many obstacles they were facing. The Vrajavasis, the husbands, the fathers, the brothers, so many obstacles. Society, what society will say. But they did not care about all this obstruction and they just flowed towards Krishna like a magnet. Just like the leaf, the flower, when the sun is coming, it will go towards the sun no matter what. Even if you try to do something, it will grow through another way. So like that, the attraction for Krishna was there. Of course, people may think, how come the gopis left their husband and went? So actually, you must understand, all these gopis are expansions of Radharani, Mahalakshmi. So their supreme husband is Krishna only. So these are very deep topics to understand about Krishna Bhakti and love for Krishna. So when we understand the loving aspect of Krishna, then we will not be disturbed. Even if we have trouble or no trouble, our attention to Krishna will always be there. It says that what is it? Yuvatinam yata yunim. Yuvatinam yata yunim yunam cha yuvatau yata mano viramate tadvan mano me ramatam tvai As the minds of young girls takes pleasure in thinking of young boys, and those of young boys take pleasure in thinking of young girls, may my mind take pleasure in you. So every one of us, definitely one point of our life, we would have experienced that kind of love, right? Where you have a crush, or or your lover, whoever it is. Of course, the time in the beginning stage, the dopamine is very high. There's a chemical release of dopamine, so you're always thinking of that person. But eventually, it will wane off because it's a material relationship. So you may feel like, even though you're at school doing your work, you'll be thinking of your crush. Even though you're doing exam, you might be thinking of them. They will be thinking of you. So that this is a small sample of the attraction. If that attraction between an opposite sex is there in the material world, so Rupa Goswami is saying, similarly, let my attraction be like that, naturally flowing towards you. Right? So when we have the natural attraction for Krishna, then our priorities in our life also changes. Because right now we are prioritizing bhakti as one part of our life. I will do these things, and bhakti lasts some round suchan. So we cannot be like that. If we want to come out of this material world, if we want to attain the ultimate goal of life, which is love for Krishna, then we must have a commitment towards Krishna. Understand? So it's not, like what I'm saying, it's not possible now to immediately, I'm like Mirabai, I'm going to love Krishna. We have forgotten Krishna. We are covered with Maya for a very long time. So in order to do that, we need to have a step-by-step process. That is what we are doing in the temple. This is called sadhana bhakti. So we tell you to make a commitment. Just like now, how do you know if someone loves you? Right? Many of you all are married. How do you know that your wife loves you or your husband loves you? Huh? Yeah. So yeah, unfortunate that is. So mainly the love comes, by commitment. The more you commit to someone, the time, you're committing your life towards your spouse, right? To your family, to your children. That means you love them. So sometimes, let's say arranged marriage, you may not know the person also. But how the love eventually, sometimes you see the arranged marriage is more successful even the love marriage. Right? Why? Because the both parties, they are putting the commitment towards each other. And in time, with that commitment, the love grows. So similarly, we also need to learn how to commit our time and prioritize our time towards Krishna Bhakti. Then we will understand the real goal of life. So how do you commit then? So when you come here, obviously, first we tell you, commit to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Get the mala in the morning. So if you see yourself committing your time to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, that means you are taking one step towards Krishna. And you take one step towards him, he will take 9 steps towards you. That is Krishna's mercy. When he sees that you're calling out his name, he will automatically reciprocate. He's waiting actually, very patiently waiting life after life when this jiva will come to me. Right. So you commit first, chant the holy name. And then how you know what is the next level? You're committing, the next level is you're committing the food that you are cooking, you're offering to the Lord. Whatever you're earning, you're offering to the Lord. Whatever your time you have, you're coming to the Lord. So the next level is trying to offer whatever we have, in our possession to the Lord. That means you're coming to the next level. And higher than that, if you're committing to the point of consideration, like everything you consider, Krishna is the first consideration. Like now, let's say your company wants to transfer you somewhere. And then you consider, if I transfer here, will my bhakti be favorable? So every plan that you make in life is considering Krishna first. You see? Whether I should go here, whether I should change my company, whatever you do, whether I should transfer, every big consideration you take in your life, you put Krishna in the first point, Prabhupada and Krishna, and then you think whether this will help me in my progress. And even higher than that is, of course, devotees who have dedicated their entire life to surrendering to Krishna. Atma Nivedanam. And that surrender is not only, oh, I'm surrendered. That means the first consideration in your heart is whether Krishna is my first love. Right? If now we ask this question, do you love Krishna more or your wife or your husband? You understand? So when you can ask your question yourself. And when you ask that question, you think whether the person you love the most first is Krishna, or of course, if you say you love Krishna, then you're there. Where is the action of loving Krishna? That's where most of the people who dedicate their life, they are loving Krishna, like until the point they are dedicating their life. So like that, we have to progress to loving Krishna. And today's verse, Krishna is very clear. He's saying that only through, we'll see the sloka again. Bhaktya tu ananya shakya. So he's telling to Arjuna, by undivided devotional service. So your devotional service, your bhakti should be without any motivation. Many of us do bhakti with the motivation to achieve some gain. Oh, if I chant, I'll get some wealth. Right? I'll get some fame. So there should be this kind of bhakti. This is called Mishra Bhakti. Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti. It's not going to work. You Anya Abhilasita Sunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. The bhakti which should be Anya Abhilasita Sunyam, without any desire. That is highest bhakti. Anukulena Krishnanu Silanam Bhaktir Uttamam. Such bhakti which is performed favorably, that is highest bhakti. So now you may wonder, Krishna is saying that I can be only understood by bhakti. So what about other? If you read Bhagavad Gita, there are many other parts recommended. There is karma yoga. There is jnana yoga. There is also the dhyana yoga, meditation. And then Krishna is suddenly saying, after that Krishna comes to bhakti and he said, no other way but bhakti, no other way. Right? So why is that so? Why do you think that is bhakti is the only way? Why Krishna is saying that? If you go also to another verse, in the 11th canto, Na sadhyati mam yogo, na samkhyam dharma uddhava, na sadhyayas tapastyago, yata bhaktir mamorchita. Krishna says, my dear Uddhava, the unalloyed devotional service rendered to me by my devotees bring me under their control. I cannot be controlled by those engaged in mystic yoga, Sankhya philosophy, pious work, Vedic study, austerity or renunciation. Krishna says, all this cannot control me. So who control Krishna now? Mother Yashoda, right? We are celebrating Damodar Leela. It is actually the celebration of the pure devotee controlling the Lord, the Supreme Lord, Krishna. So how wonderful is that? That bhakti helps to control. So why does it help to control? Why is it the highest? Because now imagine something like milk, right? Everybody has seen milk. So when you want to understand milk, let's say you try to understand milk with your eyes. What do you understand? It is white in color. If you try to understand milk with your nose, you will smell something. I don't know how to describe that smell. When you're boiling milk, you can smell fragrance, right? When you try to hear what is milk with your ears, there's no sound. Maybe you can hear the sound of pouring. So all these senses cannot perceive the milk. When you try to touch the milk, it might feel hot or cold. That's all. But the best way to understand milk is by drinking the milk. When your tongue touches the milk, you can perceive the milk incomplete. Similarly, when you try to understand God, Krishna, through karma yoga, you may understand him through your work, just working. But you may work for someone, you may work for your boss, but you may not love your boss. Correct? But if you love Krishna, automatically you're working for him. Right? If you love your child, do you feel that whatever work you do for him is work? It's a labor of love. You don't say to your husband, okay, I'm taking care of the child, you give me salary every month. Do you say that? In fact, they analyze the salary of a housewife. She's actually worth 120,000 a year. Because she's doing so many things. She's doing counseling, she's doing psychological counseling, she's doing a nurse, job of a nurse, she's taking care of the child, she's protecting the child, everything. So she's a doctor, she's a nurse, she's a psychologist. You join all this salary, will come 120,000. But what makes her a mother is because she don't take the salary. Understand? So so what I'm trying to say is, when you work for someone, you may not love someone, but you love someone, you automatically work for them. Understand? Second, Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is trying to read the scriptures, mentally speculate to understand who is the Supreme. Trying to know more and more and more and more. But someone who knows the Vedas doesn't mean they love Kṛṣṇa. We know many people who are Vedantis, Chaturveda, Trivedi, but they don't have love for Kṛṣṇa. In fact, if you see in the Kṛṣṇa Leela, Kṛṣṇa and his friends were hungry. They came to ask food from the Brahmanas who were doing yajna. And then Brahmana says, we're not going to give you any food. We must finish the yajna first. But the point of the yajna karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. The point of the yajna is tadartam karmat kamtiya mukta sangha samacharam, is to satisfy Vishnu. So Vishnu himself is coming saying, please give me something from your yajna. The Brahmanas are not giving. That means what? They have no love for him. They just know the Vedas, they know the scriptures, everything, but they don't love him. And when the object of their yajna is in front of them, they are not giving him what? Never not giving him out. But their wives. The wives, when Kṛṣṇa says to the wife, the friends of Kṛṣṇa says, Kṛṣṇa is hungry, can you give something? Immediately these wives of the Brahmanas give the offering. They give the prasad. So you see, the wife, they don't know Vedas also. But because they have love. So when you love someone, you automatically want to know him completely. You want to know everything about him. Imagine sometimes you're a fan of somebody, right? You're a fan of Shah Rukh Khan. You want to know everything about his life, right? Of course, after knowing so much, you will get bored also. But if you know about Kṛṣṇa, punarjanma na vidyate, no more punarjanma. Yeah? Kṛṣṇa says, if you know me, janma karma chamaya divyam evam yo veti tattvata. By knowing me, there's no more repeated birth and death. This is the power of knowing Kṛṣṇa. And now, next come dhyana. Dhyana means to meditate. Meditate on the Lord. So you may meditate on him, but you may not also love him. But again, if you love Kṛṣṇa, you are meditating on him every second. Did the gopis of Vrindavan, did Mother Yashoda go to the forest to meditate on Kṛṣṇa? No. She was churning milk. She was doing her household duties. Same time, she is remembering Kṛṣṇa. And Kṛṣṇa, she was giving milk to Kṛṣṇa. She was actually churning the milk, the butter. So she wants to make milk into butter. While she was churning, Kṛṣṇa was coming, very hungry. Right? And immediately Kṛṣṇa, he comes and he's crying. Then Mother Yashoda understood, my son wants milk. And immediately, when the rod that is spinning, Kṛṣṇa puts his tiny hands and hold the rod. So Mother Yashoda understood, oh, this boy intelligent. He knows how to stop my work. Immediately he will come and jump on her lap, and he's drinking the milk. And then she could see that the milk was boiling inside in the kitchen. The milk was boiling. She's boiling the milk. Why? Because Kṛṣṇa, she got the best cows in Vrindavan and took the best milk to create the best butter for him, because he was stealing butter from others' house. So she thought, let me create the best butter for him so he won't steal. So when that was boiling, she left Kṛṣṇa and she went. And it is said that when she went, she could feel separation from Kṛṣṇa even by leaving him on the floor and going. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan. So she could feel little bit the separation even by leaving the child just to attend to the milk, which is meant for him. And what she was doing? Of course, before that she was singing. When she was going to attend to the milk, she was also singing the glories of Kṛṣṇa. So when you're always meditating on someone, you will be singing about them. Right? What is the best way to express your feeling? Essentially through a song. Right? The best way of self-expression is by singing. So Bhagavad Gita is the song of God, song of Kṛṣṇa. He's singing the 700 shlokas. you know. So like that, when what I'm trying to say now is why bhakti is the highest, because when you love someone, it includes jnana, karma, dhyana. Everything is included. You don't need to separately do these things, which is why when you have bhakti for Krishna, you can easily and automatically conquer him. Like how our Mother Yashoda, she conquered Krishna. Okay. And also, but the problem is how to understand bhakti, right? So if you see this verse spoken by the gopis, now the thing is, why I'm showing this verse, I'll explain one important point. Now we know that bhakti is the highest, but how to attain that bhakti? How to understand we must do bhakti, right? What is the reason for doing bhakti? So if you see this verse, Tavakata amritam tapta jivanam kavibiriditam kalmashapaham shravana mangalam srimadatam bhuvi granantiye bhuridha jana. So he says, Tavakrata amritam. This is spoken by the gopis during the Rasalila, where Krishna actually disappeared. So they are in always meditation of the Lord. They are remembering the Lord. They are singing about Him. So they said that Tava Kata Amritam Tapta Jivanam. Your Kata is the Tapta, means one who is suffering the threefold miseries. Tapa, Tapatrayana Moolanam. What are the threefold miseries? Adi Atmik, Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik. Miseries from myself, my mind. Miseries from the Devatas, natural disasters. Miseries from others. We are all suffering from three miseries. So if you want to come out of these three miseries, we must hear Tava Kata Amritam, the Amritam, the nectar of Krishna Kata. When you relish, see, when you want to eat food, how do you nourish yourself? You put the food in your mouth, this whole year, and it goes inside the stomach. But if you want to nourish your heart, you must put the food inside, the Krishna Kata inside your ears. When it goes inside the ears, it will go inside the heart like nectar and destroy the threefold miseries, tapa. So Tava Kata Amritam, Tapta Jivanam. This Krishna Kata is the life for all these people who are suffering. And Krishna Kata is not only the life for people who are suffering these threefold miseries, but is also the life for the gopis who are in separation of Krishna. See, there are two kinds of people who suffer. One is us. We are suffering separation from Krishna because we are in material world, material nature. Gopis, they are always with Krishna, but they are separation of Krishna's physical presence. Because it's not easy to associate with Krishna, right? So Krishna also left them in the Rasalila. So they were feeling the fire of separation. And this is the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Aslisya va padaratam pinashtama marmahatam karvatava yata tatava vidadat marma. So he says, Krishna, our way of worshipping Krishna is through separation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us how to love Krishna in separation. So next point, actually, if you to understand one point, you see, there are two kinds of people. When I'm talking about this tapta, this tapa, this separation, we must understand that there's two kinds of people. One is us, people like us. We are very clear with our spiritual life. What I mean by that? Just remember these 2 points. We are very clear with our spiritual life. We are very unclear with our material life. What does that mean? It means when anything material calamity happens, whenever material difficulty happens, we are immediately in distress. You know, when there's a water, there's a pond, it is clear water. You throw a rock inside, the water is shaking. You can't see your reflection, right? So whenever anything material problem happens, we are very unclear. We are shaking. But we are very clear with spiritual life. What does that mean? Clear spiritual life means we are very clear that we will only come once a week, on Sunday. We are very clear that we will only attend Mangalarati once, maybe, and we are very clear that this much only I will commit. And when you commit to spiritual life more, maybe your relatives will come and say, why are you worshipping Krishna? You know, he will take everything away. And then you will say, no, I must go to temple. Somehow you lost, Krishna also took it away. Because Krishna wants you to bring you closer to him. Krishna takes away. Then they tell you, I told you don't go to temple. Don't be so serious. Just speak. Just like that associate, you know. Why? You see now Krishna taken away. So we are you get my point. We are very clear that our spiritual commitment is just this much. I'm not doing more than that. But the pure devotees, opposite. Pure devotees, they are very clear with material life. They are very clear that they will not waste their time for material endeavors at all. They're not going to bother. Whatever comes by its own way, let it come. I'm not going to ask Krishna anything. Whatever Krishna wants to give me, he'll give me. And whatever material disturbance happens, they're not disturbed at all. Tattenu kampa su samikshamana. They patiently suffer and offer. Hrit vag vapur bir vidatan namaste vidya. Mind, body, word, they are namaste to the Lord. Krishna, I am supposed to suffer, no problem. I have done karma. But I offer my obeisance to you with my mind, body, and words. And for such a devotee, mukti swapade dahyabhak. Mukti, liberation is waiting at his doorstep. So devotees are very clear with material life. I'm not bothering about it at all. But they are very unclear about spiritual life. What it means by that? Actually, they are very clear about spiritual life. Unclear means when Krishna separates from them, they feel that separation and they become crazy. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like Vidura. Krishna is coming to his house to eat. Instead of giving Krishna the banana, he's giving the banana peel. So he's not clear. He's totally melted in Krishna Prem. So this is the meaning. Tava katamritam tapta jivanam. You see, one is people like us who are suffering, and one is the devotees who are suffering Krishna's separation. And to cure that suffering for the two people, you must hear the katha of Krishna. Very important. And Kavibi Riditam Kalma Shapaham means this Krishna Katha is, Kavi means the poet. They are glorifying him. They are writing so much just to glorify him. And it is Kalma Shapaham. It destroys the Kalma. You know what is the Kalma? There are two kinds of Kalma is there. One Kalma is the Kalma within our heart. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya. When you chant Krishna's name, when you hear his Katha, the Bhagavad Gita. So again, Tava Katamrita means two kinds of Katha. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. One is spoken by Krishna, one is stories about Krishna. When you hear this katha, the kalma of the heart goes away. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya goes away. Another kalma is the Kali kalma. Kaler doshe nide rajan asti eko hi mahan gunan. Kirtana deva Krishnasya mukta sangam param vrajet. The Kali Yuga is a big kalma. Very difficult situation. And how to destroy the Kali kalma? By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So that is how you destroy the kalmasha. So you must listen to the glories of Krishna. Then next one, this is very important. This is the point I wanted to make. Shravana Mangalam. So remember, let's retrace why I come here. The point I was trying to make is why Krishna says Bhakti is the highest. We understood. Krishna says I am controlled by Bhakti. But how we can get attraction for Bhakti? This is the answer. Shravana Mangalam. Mangalam means auspicious. When you listen Krishna Katha, you gain the auspiciousness. And what is that auspiciousness? You gain the auspiciousness that you should be convinced that I will pursue Bhakti and Bhakti alone. If I want to do something, if I want to pursue something, I must be convinced in what I'm going to do, right? So Bhagavatam, the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita is the best advertisement to promote Krishna Bhakti as the highest goal of life. Firstly, we don't know what is the goal also. So when you read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, you understand what is the goal. Understand the goal. How to attain the goal? What is the means of attaining the goal? It is also by reading the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So you understand how important this Tava Katamritam is. This Katha gives us motivation to pursue the goal of getting Krishna Bhakti. That is why it is Shravana Mangalam. That is why it is auspicious. Extremely auspicious. Then Srimad Adatam. So Srimad Adatam means filled with spiritual power. This Katha is filled with spiritual power and it is broadcast all over the world. Bhuvi Granantiye Bhuridha Jana. So the Gopi says, whoever is spreading this Krishna Katha all over the world, they are the greatest. So we understand that Krishna Katha is the greatest. And even greater than that is those who are spreading that Krishna Katha. Krishna becomes very dear to them. So this is what we have to do. We have to first learn the Katha of Krishna, and we must teach others about this. Then we easily become very dear to the association of Krishna. So sometimes it is, you must understand that attaining Krishna is much more easier by attaining the service of the pure devotees. By serving the pure devotee of the Lord, one can easily attain the lotus feet of Krishna. So if you go to this verse here, Krishna himself says that nirapekshamunam shantim nirvairam samadharshanam anuvrajamyaham nityam bhuya etiyam grirenubir. With the dust of my devotees' lotus feet, I desire to purify the material worlds which are situated within me. Thus, I always follow the footsteps of my pure devotees, who are free from all personal desire, wrapped with thought of my pastimes, peaceful without any feeling of enmity, and of equal disposition everywhere. So Krishna says, I always follow the footsteps of my pure devotees. If you take shelter, this Bhuri Dhajana, these pure devotees, you follow their footsteps. What does it mean by following the footsteps of a pure devotee? You follow their instructions. If you follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, you chant 16 rounds a day. You follow the 4 principles. You read at least for 1 hour. You just follow these instructions. You will see Krishna is following, of course not you, he's following Prabhupada. You just follow Prabhupada. You understand? So it is said also in another verse, Yat pada pankaja palasha vilasha bhaktya. Is it 422? I think. Right? So how do you find that? Can you find the word Yat pada pankaja palasha vilasha bhaktya? 39. Or is it 38? Yat pada pankaja palasha vilasha bhaktya karmasayam gaditam gratayanti shanta tadvan narikto matayo yatopi rudha shroto ganashta maranam vajavasu. So he says here, the devotees who are always engaged in the service of the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord, Yat pada pankaja palasa vilasa bhaktya, can very easily overcome the hot-mother desire for fruitive activities. Because this is very difficult for non-devotees, the jnanis and the yogis, although trying to stop the waves of sense gratification, cannot do so. Therefore, they are advised to engage in devotional service of Krishna. So only by doing bhakti, we can stop the waves. You know, the waves are coming, the waves of desire. I want to do this, I want to achieve this. And we are, because of unlimited desire, we are taking unlimited birth again and again and again. So in the purport, Prabhupada explained very beautifully. You know, he says here, you can take note of this. The jnanis, the yogis and bhaktas, all of them attempt to overcome the influence of the senses, which are compared to the incessant waves of the river. So our senses are like the waves. If you see the waves in the river, it's continuously going. Can you stop it? You cannot, right? The senses, the nose will say, let's go, and you smell something, you want to eat this. You know, you see something, you want to, our senses are like, we are in a prison. The Prahlad Maharaj says the senses are like 6 different vibes pulling us in 6 different directions. So like that, it is continuously, attacking us. Do this, do this, do this, do this. But only a bhakta can control these waves. How does he control? So in the same way, so you see the waves of the river flow incessantly, and it's very difficult to stop them. Similarly, the waves of desire for material enjoyment are so strong that they cannot be stopped by any process other than bhakti yoga. So only bhakti can stop this. How does it stop it? So we will see. Okay, so this is the answer. It may be argued that the waves of the river are incessantly flowing and they cannot be stopped. So the waves, again, continuously going, right? But the waves of the river flow towards the sea. You understand? Whatever waves in the river has to go to the sea. When the tide comes over the river, it overwhelms the flowing river, and the river itself becomes overflooded by the waves of the sea, become more prominent than the waves of the river. You understand? So the river waves are pushing the water into the ocean or the sea. But sometimes the high tide of the sea is so high that the water comes back to the river. The waves of the sea overcomes the waves of the river. You understand? So that means, so what is this wave of the river? Wave of the sea. This wave of the sea is Kṛṣṇa Bhakti. When you engage yourself in Kṛṣṇa Bhakti, when you engage yourself in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, the waves of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord will overpower the waves of your sense gratification, which is disturbing you. So you cannot artificially try to stop the senses. But if you overpower it with bhakti, then it will be correctly engaged. So as confirmed by Yamunacharya, so Yamunacharya says, Yadavadi mama cheta Krishna padhara vrindayo. He says, as when I engage in the service of Krishna, there is always a current of newer and newer desire flowing to serve the Lord. Instead of having the desire to serve my senses, that desire to serve the Lord is ever increasing. Anandham buri vardhanam. The ocean of Krishna Prem, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, overfloods the river of our material desires. So the newer, so much that the stagnant desire for sex life becomes very insignificant. Yamunacharya says it spits at such desires. So this is what happens when you take bhakti seriously. When you commit to this process of bhakti yoga, you will come to a point of controlling your senses completely. You will control your mind. You will have so much happiness and peacefulness and bliss. These are all byproducts of bhakti. And of course, you will develop love for Krishna. That is the ultimate goal. Right? So the conclusion is that developing a loving desire for the service of the lotus feet of the Lord, we subdue all material desire for sense gratification. So this is the conclusion. So please, every round that you chant, sincerely, seriously, it's like the wave. It is coming and attacking the wave inside you. There is an uncontrollable wave of material contamination, kalmasa within you, kama, krodha, lobha, mada, matsarya. And this wave of Krishna consciousness will drown that other wave. And that is the essence of our Damodara Leela. We are praying to Damodar, Lord Damodar, Mother Yashoda. May we also develop this, even a fraction of this bhakti of Mother Yashoda. Then that is the success of life. So actually, it's getting late now. I think I have to stop. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Somebody posted CC Adi 7145. Prema haite Krishna haya nija bhakta vasa. Prema haite paya Krishna seva sukharasa. The Supreme Lord, who is greater than the greatest, becomes submissive to even a very insignificant devotee because of his devotional service. It is the beautiful and exalted nature of devotional service that the infinite Lord becomes submissive to the infinitesimal living entity. Because of it, in reciprocal devotional activities with the Lord, the devotee actually enjoys transcendental mellow of devotional service. So this is very beautiful verse. How the Lord becomes submissive to the insignificant devotee because of bhakti. And the best commodity that you can purchase, that you can possess, it is bhakti. Everything else will go, but our bhakti for Krishna will never go. Because it's naturally in our heart. We just have to uncover it. So how to do that is, please request all of y'all, this Kartik month, take this seriously, take the chanting bags, chanting beads, start chanting, at least commit yourself one round a day. Commit yourself to Krishna. You will see how much he commits and changes your life. Okay? So I think there's no other questions. Yes. Any question, Madhuri?
So Madhuri said, in general people, they pray to demigods. When their desires are getting fulfilled, then how they can come to Krishna?
Yeah. So yes, Krishna also says, in the Bhagavad Gita, that the desires given fulfilled by the demigods, they are just antavantu palam tesham, alpamedasam. So it's like, the fruit is limited. You will get fulfilled for time being. At the time, let's say even if you get fulfillment, at the time of your death, you have to give it up. But the blessings given by Lakshmi Devi, if you're following Krishna consciousness properly, Lakshmi Devi will bless you. That blessing will never go away. You see? So even whatever material benediction blessings you might get. So this is the problem with Hinduism actually. Our approaching of religion, our approaching of God, it is simply for our own demands. If our demands are met, then we forget God. So such kind of religion, it is rejected by Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharma projita kaitabhatra. Parmo nirmat saranam satam. Bhagavatam is not for people who are interested in material enjoyment. It is for people who are completely, we don't want anything to do with this material enjoyment. We want only to serve Krishna. Then that is Bhagavatam. So if one can understand this point, he's very great. So most people are in the material worship, devatas and all, going to temple, breaking coconut, doing rituals to get something. But if one can understand this point, he becomes very, very fortunate. It says that, and that is only possible by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You see this sloka. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Karaha Vichara Kairile Chitta Bhave Chamatkara. Says that if you are indeed interested in logic and argument, kindly apply to the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you do so, you will find it to be strikingly wonderful. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, the Daya of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very wonderful. You can't explain, because every one of us are interested in material enjoyment only. But here comes God himself as a devotee. You see, the point of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very great, because we cannot understand bhakti. So God himself says, I will come as my devotee, Radharani, to experience bhakti and teach it to you. So if you apply, if you understand the mercy he is giving us, which is not possible. We are like, I was many times this example is that we are like some cockroaches inside the drain. We are eating all the rubbish. But somebody opens the drain and gives some honey inside. Suddenly we are tasting honey. We are drowning in honey. Do we deserve that honey? No. That is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So somehow we have to get them connected to this Krishna Prem. How to do that? You must let them, try to get them to chant the holy name. And as I described earlier, Tava Katamritam. Let them hear the Katha of Krishna. Because by hearing the Katha of Krishna, you will get, you won't get motivated to do this material thing so much. Your motivation to spiritual thing will increase. So more we hear, the more faith we develop. The more faith we develop, the more we will perform, take action to perform bhakti. So these are all given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. And it's very wonderful how he has done it. Even in the last chapter, the last few verses of Bhagavad Gita, Sugri, what is his name? Sanjay is saying, I have heard this conversation of Krishna and Arjuna. What is that verse? 1870, 74. This one? Yeah. Itiham Vasudevasya Partasya Chamahatmana Samvadam Imam Asarosam Adbhutam Roma Harshanam. So he says that Sanjaya says, thus I have heard the conversation of the two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna, and so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing. Roma Harshan. So if you read Bhagavad Gita, if they can read Bhagavad Gita, the wonderful message of Krishna, right? If they can get the wonderful mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then they can come out of this conception of, I'm only coming to temple to get something material. Because even if you get the material, your emptiness in your heart is never going to be going away. Your emptiness in the heart can be only going away when there is love. And that love to who? To Krishna. Yatra nanyat pasyati, nanyat shrunoti, nanyat vijananti. It means sabhuma. The verse from Chandogya Upanishad, it says, once you see that, yatra nanyat pasyati, once you see that object, there is nothing else you want to see. Once you hear about that person, there is nothing else you want to hear. And once you meditate on him, there is nothing else you want to meditate, and that is Krishna. Because once you surrender to him, you see him, your eyes will not see anything else. Of course, we are not like that. But if you seriously pursue this path, you will come to the level of Krishna Bhakti like that. And of course, many people may have a doubt, then I give up my family and my work. No, Arjuna is working, shooting arrows. But he never sees anything else. Even though Krishna was behind him, he's always seeing Krishna everywhere. That is bhakti. Right? Hanuman, when he was searching for the Sita, he saw many beautiful women. Then he was thinking, how can I see them? I'm a brahmachari. Then he thought to himself, no, but if I don't see them, how will I find Sita? But then he told himself, no, I'm not affected seeing them, because I am seeing yatra nanyat paschati. I'm seeing that object which has, after seeing, there's nothing else left to be seen. That means when I see all these naked ladies and beautiful ladies lying down, I'm not affected because I'm attracted to Krishna. You must understand, our mind, right? Hanuman is a monkey, right? But his mind is very stable. His mind is very straight, not wavering. Our mind, we are human being, but our mind is jumping like monkey. Our mind is jumping like monkey. But Hanuman, being a monkey, his mind is always attached to Ram only. And that's why he was not distracted anytime seeing any of the women there. You put all the Miss Universe also, they cannot compare to the beauty of the queens of Ravana. And still, he went through that mission and he found Sita. Because he was already attached to the higher taste. Param dhristva nivartate. When you have the higher taste of Krishna Bhakti, Krishna's holy name, then you will not degrade yourself to all the material things which gives you miseries. Yeah. So you want to come out of this mindset, we have to hear. And our duty, now they don't know, we know something, let them read the books, let them come. Well, that's up to you, because everyone has their free will. Our job is to advertise. Shravana Mangalam. We know the advertisement, we present the advertisement. Whether they take it or not is up to them.
Though they hear about it, they still say that I'm taking people all my desires to be delivered.
Yeah. So that's unfortunate. But like I said, you try your best. Let them, okay, Naman, you're worshipping the whatever you're doing, do what you chant. You add this. So like that, you encourage them. Come for festival, take prasadam, step by step. Because one point of time, we were also like that. We were not attracted to Krishna. But some devotee saved us. We are all here because some pure devotee, and of course Prabhupada in this lifetime, he saved us. So we try our best to help as much. And don't get discouraged if they don't take. But we must be strong in our goal to attain Krishna. So okay, I think better we stop here. Then we have last arati, and we'll have prasadam in fifth floor. And those people who have not offered the lamp while the last arati is going on, you can take from behind. You can offer the lamp to Damodar. Jai Grandraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Jai Shri Prabhupada.